Hello everyone and welcome back to Football Manager 2018 and the fifth part of this experiment where we're taking a look at what would happen if a tier 22 team had unlimited money. We're into the year 2037, we've gone really far forward now. They're just about to break back into the Football League, having fleetingly been in it a year ago before getting relegated after a massive transfer embargo. So a lot to look forward to today. We're going to go 10 whole years into the future. They could be Premier League champions by the end of this episode. That's because we need to push this forward. This is the fifth one and we need to bring this series to an end at some point because it could go on forever. Now, before we get into today's episode, I want to say thank you to everybody again for your support on the channel, especially this series, which has done so well, and it's actually attracted the channel's first ever sponsorship. Now, a massive shout out to the app sponsoring us today. It is OneFootball. It's relevant to you guys, especially with the new season just around the corner. This is a fantastic app for keeping up with all the latest developments in world football. You can pick certain teams to follow, certain leagues to follow. I follow Newcastle, so I can see all their transfer activity by clicking that tab at the top. You can also see the upcoming matches in the Premier League, which my team is in, and also you have all the different competitions there, all the latest news from Newcastle, which is much better than the BBC. You can see the transfers again there, where they are in the table. Obviously no matches yet, but you can also see the squad. So overall, it's a really great way to keep up the latest developments of your club and the national side as an England fan. So you can see everything going on there as well. You can follow whoever you like, any team you like, or just a general view of the entire league. I highly recommend it, so make sure you click the link to the app down below. But getting back to the experiment itself, we do have a long way still to go, so I'm not going to talk too much about where we left off last time. If you haven't seen that, you should go back and watch the earlier videos. They'll give you all the information you need to know. But let's drop likes on this video, hit that subscribe button, let me know what you think of the OneFootball app down below if you're already using it. But without any further ado, let's go 10 years into the future. Well, we are now 10 years into the future. This is where we left off with this abysmal season. We're going to go forward through the different years now. But before that, a couple of questions that have been asked. One, the most obvious one, is where is Tim Tilley? He's actually currently, if the game will ever load, unemployed. That's where he is. If we look at his career overview, or rather his milestones, then you can see across his landmarks here, all of his titles obviously came with Fairwarp. But if we look at his overall, he did resign from Accrington Stanley. Rather annoyingly, we need to go all the way down. It's been so long since he left, and so much has happened. It was actually Notts County that he left Fairwarp for. You can see he left as manager 2035 and was hired as Notts County manager pretty much straight away. It's why he left Fairwarp. Finished 17th in League One. Not sure why he gave up Fairwarp for a finish like that. I'm not too worried about all of this sort of stuff. You can see they did qualify for the playoffs though, but didn't manage to go up, I don't believe. And then he ended up leaving Notts County. He was sacked from Notts County actually, and then went to QPR, where he seemed to be for a little while, doing alright in the Carabao Cup. Couple of FA Cup appearances, and then they were down in Sky Bet League 2 with Halifax. So he got sacked as manager of QPR, went down to Halifax Town, spent a bit of time here. I don't know if he achieved anything noticeable. I don't think he did. And then at the end of that, he was sacked as manager of Halifax Town, went to Accrington Stanley in the Vanarama National League. So at this point, completely superseded by the success of Fairwarp, and his career never really got back on track, still down in the Vanarama National League, and then ultimately he did leave after they finished 17th. So he's not had the best time as a manager. After nearly 20 years at Fairwarp, he then had 2 years at Notts County, a season at QPR, 2 seasons at Halifax Town, and 6 years, to be fair, at Accrington Stanley. He did spend quite a bit of time there, but his competitions were pretty uninspiring, one might say. A lot of mid-table finishes progressively got worse at Accrington Stanley after a minor kind of increase. But you can see all of the success that he had here with Fairwarp But the 6-year spell at Accrington Stanley, his big thing, and he's just left there recently. So that is Tim Tilley. Now the other big question that was bandied around a lot was, why am I not putting more money into the club? I am from now on. I've already put money into the club since where we left off before and where we are now. There's been another 800 million put in. I'm going to keep pumping money into the club now that we're into proper league football, because this is when it makes a difference. Somebody said that I need to change their sponsorship details. I can't do that because the game has already started. I need to go into the in-game into the full game editor to do that, so I can't do that now. One thing I could do is boost their facilities, corporate facilities, most importantly their attendance, to bring people in the gates. But that is not what the point of this experiment was. This experiment was to give them unlimited money, not to mess with their gate receipts or facilities. The money enables them to grow their facilities and expand their stadium. And that's one of the things that I'm interested in. It's why I keep showing you the facilities, why I keep showing you the stadium. So that's why I'm doing the things the way I am. There will be a lot more money just pumped into the club. I'm going to try and keep them at nearly £1 billion now. I'm not sure I'll be able to keep up with how much money I'm putting in. And so far I've put in 1.6 billion, and that will get us to the point that we're going to end today. I might even have put a bit more in, but we'll see. So if we go forward, when they got relegated back down to the Vanarama National League, you see it was a difficult season, first time out, not an awful lot of success there, but they did manage to stay in the Vanarama National League. You can see results improved dramatically with the extra money that I'd put into the club. Doing well in the FA Cup, before losing in the second round. FA Trophy not going that well, but they did make it to the playoffs, but unfortunately lost 2-0 to Slough Town. Not a team you want to be losing to. So another year in the Vanarama National League, into the year 2040 pretty much. You can see FA Cup not going well. FA Trophy going very well though, into the final. They did manage to win that. I think they also got promoted up into League 2, which they did. You can see here, actually getting through the Carabao Cup first round this time before losing in the second round to Swansea City. League very patchy, but a nice upturn in form in the second half meant they did manage to hang on to their position and stay in League 2 for another year. Out in the second round of the Carabao Cup yet again. Checkatrade Trophy not going too well either. And out of the FA Cup, but they did make it to the third round for the first time ever before losing to Charlton. Still in League 2 though. This time they got through the second round of the Carabao Cup before losing to Manchester City, one of the biggest games in their history. Still going in the Checkatrade Trophy before losing to Cardiff City under-23s. Out of the FA Cup at the third round against Brentford, but a very good league campaign, and that meant they did manage to make it to Sky Bet League 1. And you can see after that promotion actually holding their own in the league up to this point. But out of the Carabao Cup, through in the FA Cup first round against Letcombe, and then the second round against Cambridge, but lost to Team Solent in the FA Cup third round. How have they lost to Team Solent? They are now up in League 2. What has happened here? How have Team Solent made it this far up? If we look at there, we just need to have a quick look at this, because how on earth have they made it this far? You can see they've come up the leagues going back quite some time, but are now a League 2 team. Let me know if you see other big teams in here, but you can see this league season going pretty well actually, and they got through in the FA Cup second round before losing to Team Solent, as we saw before, and then they made it to the playoffs. They beat Peterborough 2-0 and then 2-1 at home, and then beat Southend 3-0 to get themselves back-to-back promotions from League 2 to League 1 and into the Championship. Now this is a big step up for them, and patchy form to begin with, but not horrific. They went out in the FA Cup third round, but quite a few wins here at the end of the season saved their position, and they did manage to hold on to the Championship place. Still going to the Carabao Cup, knocked out in the second round though. Terrible run of form here, and I don't think they're going to recover from that, although this run of wins may well have just saved them, and it did actually save them enough to keep them up. And that's what that little upturn in form can do at the end of the season. But you can see they're getting less wins year after year, and this season they did actually finish at the bottom of the Championship table, so they have gone back down. But what I'm going to do is give them another 800 million and see if it will help them out. That'll take them up to 2.5 billion. They're actually not doing too badly, but their progress is going to be incredibly slow, and you can see the game is really struggling with loading this data now, because we're about 30 years into the future. So even just loading the championship table is taking ages. But when it does finally load up, we will see their bottom of the table finish. You can see it there, finished with 42 points. They're only 4 points off safety, to be fair, but they just missed out on the couple of wins that they seemed to get in the years before that in managing to stay up. You can see that season they finished up by 5 points. 19th year before that, and before that they were down in League One. So we could see where they finished there. If we have a quick look at their transfer history, going back through the seasons, you can see 7 million spent, 14 million, 22 million, 2.3, 1.8, 350k, 650k. They weren't spending much money. Even when I did give them extra cash, they were not spending it. And even now, they're still not spending it. So if we look at their club details and their finances, you can see they've got 360 million left. I'm going to give them another, I'm going to put them up to 8.6. So that's another 500 million. They'll be going into the club ahead of next episode. Now, next episode, this can be really frustrating. This is the most boring time for this experiment, seeing them try to break into the top of the Premier League. So I'm not sure how far forward I'm going to go next time, which means I don't know how long it'll be till the next part. Ultimately, there might not be a next part if this does not work out. So do drop a like on the video if you want to see at least one more part. Let me know how far forward you want me to go. What point do you want them to reach? Do you want to see them win the Premier League, the Champions League, just Champions League qualification? Where should I bring in the next episode? Because I don't want to be waiting 20 years of mid-table Premier League results, which is what we could be facing here. So drop a like on the video if you do want to see another part from this experiment. Make sure you check out that OneFootball app. Use the link in the description. They've been really kind to sponsor the video today. It goes a long way to helping out the channel and building the brand that we've got going here that you guys are all a part of. So just keep hitting that link. Make sure you get the app in time for the new football season. But until next time, see ya.